How's it, punters? Welcome back to the Best Sports Betting Podcast. We've got a very cool episode today. We're going to do a nice little giveaway for our podcast listeners. There's not too many of you, but the ones that are out there, we do want to reward you with a lacquer giveaway, which I'll be explaining what you need to do a little bit later in the podcast. But in this episode, we're going to be talking about the Champions League, some of the results from last week, some of the Premier League results that happened over the weekend, the kind of double game week, and then we're going to look ahead at the GP, the Premier League, and the second leg of the Champions League semi-final clashes. Simon and I went down to the Stormers game on Saturday. Sunbet hooked us up with some nice tickets there. Was a fun time, Simon.
It was, sure. It was actually really nice to see some live rugby. I think it's been 5 or 6 years since I've actually watched a game. So it was really, really nice to be back in the stadium. And actually, believe it or not, my first ever time in Cape Town Stadium. I feel like such an unloyal Cape Townian, yeah. But my first time there, it was so much nicer than watching in Newlands. Just so much more spacious, and obviously not being at full capacity. Just in terms of crowds, I guess not wanting to be there as much as they used to. It just means that everything's just kind of a bit more simple, getting in and out and getting a drink and so on. It was really, really nice, and nice sound in there too. It was a good vibe.
Good atmosphere, good vibe, good beer. It was a lack of time and no masks. That was something that I kind of wasn't expecting, but I'm glad that you managed to get through the game. Most people weren't wearing a mask, so there's that. And we were watching the game. It ended up I think it was 2013, and we were both looking at unders throughout the game. We just didn't get a bet on.
Yeah, sure. No, it was. I mean, it seemed like it was going to go even further under than that. I mean, what's that? 33 points. I mean, the first half was just very, very. No teams were kind of getting anywhere. But it was awesome to watch a game again.
Yeah, it was so much fun. But let's jump into some of the Premier. Well, let's start off with the Champions League from last week. Some really interesting games there, especially that City versus Madrid game. I called some correct scores on those. I didn't get it right, but your bets otherwise and our thoughts in general were on the profitable side.
Yeah, pretty spot on. I mean, I liked Man City to win and both teams to score, which came in very nicely. Obviously with Real Madrid actually.
Those both teams
it did. Absolutely. So that came in nicely. And I remember you actually predicted a 2-0 win for Liverpool, correct score. So that was a really, really nice set of predictions there. And I mean I guess the Liverpool result was kind of to be expected. I think Man City they certainly had trouble getting over the line against Real Madrid.
That's the game that I think is going to be much more interesting heading into this game week. It was an absolute classic, that City versus Madrid match. And if you guys haven't watched it, go check those highlights out. So many goals, Benzema's cheeky penalty. Just so much going on in that, and I'm really looking forward to the second leg. I kind of wish they were playing it tonight rather than tomorrow night. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be live streaming tomorrow night because of that game, but we'll see what happens. But let's talk about some of the Premier League results over that kind of double game week. Some interesting results. Newcastle losing. I mean, I thought they were going to lose by more than one goal, but it was very much a weakened Liverpool side, surprisingly, that they sent across to Tyneside.
It was a bit disappointing because that was actually a match that I went to. I made a trip to the pub to go and watch, and I always do watch it with a Liverpool supporter friend of mine, and it was just really not that interesting. I mean, as you say, Newcastle lost 1-0, but a rather dull game. I mean, Liverpool scuffed lots of chances, and I can't say Newcastle really had to fight that hard to kind of stay in the match. So it just wasn't fantastic. I mean, Liverpool dominant, 34 shots on target compared to Newcastle 6. But you kind of never got the feeling that Liverpool kind of were going to get out of first gear. As you say, they were missing a lot of players, and it showed in the way that their midfield lacked pace. So not the most exciting game.
Corners backers in that game really got the short end of the stick there, because there were only six corners in the game and nothing from Newcastle.
Absolutely.
But a bit of a strange one. But moving on to I mean, look, most of the other games were also ran games. From that day at least, we had City picking up a big win against Leeds, but kind of expected. Norwich got relegated over the weekend. I think that was made official.
That's right. Mathematically impossible now. Yeah.
And then Everton picking up a good win against Chelsea, surprisingly.
Yeah, that was certainly the upset of the weekend. I mean, Chelsea are now actually only 3 points clear of Arsenal in third place. So
Arsenal won the last 3 on the trot, surprisingly.
Yeah, so I mean, I still think that Chelsea have obviously got a very, very good chance of remaining in that top four. But it's sure, certainly looking over their shoulder now at Arsenal, who are looking more and more likely to have one of those Champions League spots.
Ever since the whole Russian drama, Chelsea just seem to have dropped in form completely. So
Yeah,
definitely affecting them there.
yeah,
Spurs picking up a good 3-1 comfortable win over Leicester. So not too much there, but yeah, pretty. Otherwise, I mean, there were some games that took place in the week before that. Sorry, or a couple of days before that, we had Manchester United drawing 1-1 with Chelsea. I forgot
yeah.
about
That
that
was
one.
the one I fancied Chelsea on the draw no bet there. So
Mm.
obviously that ended up being a push. But yeah, I mean, I suppose it's not exactly the most surprising result, really.
Then I think let's jump over to the Champions League games that are taking place tonight and tomorrow. We've got Villarreal taking on Liverpool in Spain. I mean, Liverpool going to this match with a 2-0 lead. They're 1.73 away from home. I really like Liverpool to pick up a win here, especially they're probably going to be sending a full strength side.
Yeah, I think they absolutely will send a full strength side. I think that's part of the reason that also some players were rested against Newcastle. I mean, I suppose is looking at this one, trying to kind of look at it from every angle. I mean, I suppose could sort of make a case for Liverpool not necessarily needing to win this match, and a possible draw being on the cards. But I mean, I agree with you. I think I see another victory for Liverpool. They've won all five of their Champions League away matches. And but I must say, I think for a bit of extra value here, I think Liverpool and under 3.5 at 2.56 looks like a nice bet because I think this one won't have as many goals
Mm.
as the market predicts, and I just think it's nice to get a little bit of extra value there because I just don't think that Liverpool are going to romp them. I don't. So I think, yeah, the Liverpool win in under 3.5 looks like that's I think where I'll go this in this match for a bet.
Yeah, I also like that one. I think it'll be another 2-0 or 1-0, maybe even a 1-all. I think that
Yeah,
might be the result here. I'm putting a lot of faith in Villarreal with that 1-all score, but I mean Liverpool don't need to really push themselves, as you said, for this fixture, and just need to score one goal, and they're pretty much almost guaranteed to go through because of that. They got that 2-0 one from the first leg. And then in the second, tomorrow, we've got the big one. It's going to be Real Madrid hosting Manchester City.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, we mentioned last week. I mean, about the match last week, but I mean, both teams scored. I mean, it was a 7 goal game, so it was rife with goals. And I think I don't expect there will be as many this time around, but I still think that there's a lot. That I like the over here. And I like the Asian line actually. If you look on GBets, there's actually they've set the over 3 goals at 1.79,
Ooh.
which means you need 4 goals for a winner, but three will give you your stake back. And I like that. I think that if you had to pick a winner, City would have to be the team you go for here. But I'm not. I think those match odds look right. Nothing's really tempting me there. But I think over 3 goals is where I'll go. It's slightly odds on.
I don't know where to go with this one. The overs I find is very tempting, but at the same time, I mean, are we going to be guaranteed another kind of goal fest
Mm,
after the teams have felt each other out the week before? And look, are both very attacking sides. But I mean, if Real Madrid want to go through here, they're going to need to score at least 2 goals,
yeah.
or
Well, that's
one
that's
goal,
kind
then go to extra time or whatever it is.
Well, that's kind of the thinking. I mean, basically,
Mm.
if the game goes traditionally overs, which would be over 2.5, you're getting your money back. Whereas if there's basically, an extra goal, you're winning. So that's kind of my thinking behind, the over 3, just taking a slightly more cautious approach than taking over 3.5 just for a slightly smaller price.
Yeah, I can't find anything to bet on this, to be honest. Maybe
Mm,
Real Madrid and the draw and the double chance, 1.7. That's the only one that I kind of see that I like at the price. I don't like to take either side straight up to win over here. Although if you want overall winner, if you fancy that Madrid might pull something off, you can get 3-1 on Madrid to qualify,
yeah,
which I think is huge. I mean, it's a 2-0 win for them, or a 1-0 win, and things go their way in extra time or penalties. So I think that
sure.
actually might be a solid bet as an outsider.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's definitely a harder game to call than the other one. But then again, who knows? I mean, Villarreal have played very very well. Maybe they'll give Liverpool a run
Real
and
Madrid, you
see.
mean? Real Madrid.
Uh, no, no, no. Sorry. I mean Villarreal in the first match
Right, right.
tonight. But yeah, I think look, we're looking. I think we're looking at an all English final here, if we're honest.
I don't know. I have that sneaky feeling that Madrid could pull something over City. That's my concern. But yeah, going to the Villarreal match. I mean, I don't think that's going to be too exciting. I don't think there's going to be too much debate on. I'm not going to get too involved in that one. It's kind of the done fixture for me. But yeah, let's jump over to some of the Premier League games that are going to be taking place this weekend. We've got Brentford against Southampton. Brentford got smashed 3-0 last night by Man United. We've got Chelsea taking on Wolves. We've got Brighton taking on United. Liverpool Spurs is quite a key match for the race for the title. And then City are taking on a Newcastle side, which they should comfortably put away.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I think you mentioned the most exciting fixture a little bit earlier with Liverpool Spurs. There. I think that's got to be a must-win game for Liverpool,
Mm-hmm.
really, if they want to keep the pressure on City in the title race. And they have a fantastic record against Spurs. Especially because City will play Newcastle at the Etihad, which I mean that could end up being a cricket score. So I think that it's almost like a certainty that City will get those 3 points. So for obviously for Liverpool to stay 1 point behind, then they're going to need all three here. So yeah, I think that's going to be a great game. But Spurs are playing good football at the moment. It's hard to imagine
We
Liverpool
say
haven't.
we say that, and then what happens the next week? They come and collapse
Yeah,
completely. It's
I don't think that they'll have an easy time of it. But that said, I mean I have to give Liverpool the edge. Um,
Yeah, one
I
point
think
four
that
six is actually a pretty good price on Liverpool, considering the team's fortunes and situations and
Yeah,
home
I must say this
advantage.
is another one. This is another one where I like Liverpool to win and both teams to score. Look, Liverpool's a pretty good defensive home record, but I think Spurs should knock one in here, and I think that Liverpool got to be the favourite team. Well, 2.72 on G bets for Liverpool to win and both teams
Mm.
to score. Looks quite good. Look, obviously you're going to get, there's more likely for a Liverpool straight win there, but I think for a bit of value, I think the 2.72 looks nice there. I think Spurs could definitely give them a game.
Yeah, I like a little accumulator. I like a few bets. It's going to be a four-leg accumulator. I'm going to go with Chelsea to beat Wolves at 1.8. And this is a very boring accumulator. And then I'm going to go with Liverpool to beat Spurs. I'm going to put in Arsenal at the same price as Liverpool to beat Leeds. They should beat Leeds. Given their current form, I actually expect them to smash Leeds.
Hmm.
I'd probably be, if I was betting on that game, I'd get involved in the handicap, maybe Arsenal
Mm.
minus 1.5. I think they'll win that one quite comfortably. And then City to beat Newcastle. And you're going to get 3.43 on that. So your £1 bet's going to return £3.56 over on Betway. So I think that's the quad I'm going to go with. Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, City. Very boring. Top sides, all in top form. Well, other
Yeah,
than
look,
Chelsea, of course.
no, sure. I mean, you're mentioning Arsenal. I mean, I think, look, Leeds started this season quite well after being promoted from the Championship, but they've kind of started to show now that they are not quite cut out for the Premier League. I think. I think backing the Gunners on the -1 handicap there, 2.17 is the price you get. Obviously, they'll consolidate their position in the Champions League places for next season. I think they look like a solid bet. I think they're really moving in the right direction at the moment. So I
Mm.
must say I definitely fancy Arsenal out of all of those just at that short price. But I agree. I'd rather take them on the handicap there for a bit of value.
And West Ham have a tricky game away to Norwich, who yes have been relegated, but it's a difficult one.
Mm,
West Ham aren't exactly sitting the stage alight at the moment, so quite a turnaround for Arsenal, uh, heading straight into the last
yeah.
couple of weeks of those Champions League places. But yeah, while we're talking about the Premier League, we've got a nice Brentford shirt to give away. It's given to us by Hollywoodbets. Simon, you've got one. I'm not sure if you've tried it on. Does it fit you?
I have tried on. It is very, very tight.
It is tight, yes. I'm a tall chap. They all, unfortunately, all the shirts I do have are large, so I can't
Yeah.
give the winner a size that they want. But if you're a big boy, then it might struggle to fit you. But yeah, all you need to do to enter is to just let me know who the Brentford sponsor, who's their title sponsor. It's pretty obvious. It's written all over the front of their shirt, and it's a betting site that we use quite a lot. Type in the comments, and then I'll just pick a winner out of the guys who've entered. And yeah, I will reply to your comments to whoever the winner is, and you'll have to get in touch with me with email, and we'll get that sent out to you. We'll probably close this competition out on Friday, today being Tuesday, so we'll give the guys a couple of days to get those comments in. And yeah, Simon, then we've got some GP action coming up as well.
Yeah.
We had a bit of a break, and there's a lot of interesting permutations going into this one. Well, the whole season's been pretty interesting, really, so far.
It has, yeah, and I mean, look, this is the first of its kind. It's the Miami GP. I'm sure a lot of our listeners will know the series Drive to Survive, which launched on Netflix 3 years ago now. And with that series, there's a much bigger American audience now watching Formula
I
One.
haven't watched that. I haven't watched that yet.
Okay, well, it's quite interesting because what it does is it actually sort of summarizes an entire season and then builds up to the next one. So, you really get a really you get really nice insight into how the teams operate, the various rivalries between drivers and so on. Just gives you a really, really good idea of the whole tour, and the build up to every single race. And obviously, how what you might watch on a Sunday and maybe you watch qualifying on a Saturday, but there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes. So anyway, but the reason I mentioned that is that with Drive to Survive, the American audience has really, really grown. It was never really that significant. Obviously, NASCAR is huge in the States.
Turn left,
And
turn left, turn left.
that is, yeah, exactly. So that's always kind of been the dominant racing interest, and Formula One has really grown. Anyway, so the FIA, I'm sure, really took that into account when they decided to add a new race to the calendar, and that's this weekend, and that's Miami. So obviously, being in Florida as well, which is the home of NASCAR. That also means that they've kind of got the audience right there. It's also obviously Miami, the lifestyles associated with glitz and glam, which is very much the Formula One's vibe too. So yeah, I think it's a very, very good move on their part. Anyway, but going to the actual race, so brand new circuit. So obviously very little data that the teams can crunch and try to simulate conditions and to try and prepare the drivers for the race. But it's officially called Miami International Autodrome. It's obviously just been constructed, 5.4 kilometer circuit, 19 corners, and it's actually most of the roads are actually within the grounds of the Hard Rock Stadium, which is a huge, huge complex there in Miami, near the beach. And it's been constructed around the parking lots and surrounding areas and so on there. And there is one public road as well. So you do get a bit of a very, very short road circuit too. But yeah, looking at the overall standings and where we are kind of going into this race, I mean, Ferrari had a terrible race last weekend. But in fact, if it wasn't for the sprint, Ferrari would have just scored 8 points. In total. So they were very lucky there. Leclerc finished in sixth. And yeah, as I mentioned, I think before as well, Carlos Sainz has been in the walls a lot, and he can't stay out of trouble in qualifying and on Sunday. So he's really not performing where he should be. But looking at the betting, I mean, again, I'm interested to see Hamilton ahead of Russell in the betting, especially considering Russell's actually finished in the top 5 in every race this entire year. But I don't know. Overall, nothing really excites me. I think Red Bull had slightly better pace than Ferrari last weekend, and so I think that Verstappen is a justified favorite there, although albeit slight. And Red Bull also kind of seem to have sorted out some of their reliability issues. So I think it kind of brings the two teams closer than they've ever been before, to be honest. I think Red Bull and Ferrari really are just absolutely, it's so hard to separate them. But I mean, overall, I mean, last year we obviously had Mercedes and Red Bull kind of way out ahead of the race, ahead of the rest. I think what's actually fascinating about the F1 this season is how close all the other teams are behind Ferrari and Red Bull. I mean, you have Mercedes, McLaren, Alpine, Alfa Romeo, and Haas all able to score points on any given weekend. In fact, the only two drivers, and this is only after 4 races, I mean, it's quite incredible. The only two drivers after 4 races to not score points are Mick Schumacher and Nicholas Latifi. So that just gives you an idea of just how close it is, not just between the two teams at the top, but also the teams below. So I really think we're going to be in for an interesting finish this
Yeah,
season.
you're just looking at the odds for the Miami race. You've got Verstappen and Leclerc are pretty much neck and neck, and then it drops off quite significantly.
It
It's like the
does.
bookies aren't quite sure. Although it's between the bookies have between Perez and Sainz for that third spot on the podium. And then
Yeah.
Hamilton 35-1. When did you ever think you'd see Hamilton at 35-1?
35. You can get him at GBets for 67.
Oh, there we go. Well, GBets have the 67, double what they've got over on Betway. I mean, wow. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
why
Well,
not
yeah,
put a
that's
£5 on that?
yeah, you got nothing to lose. Look, I mean, as I was saying, although it's really close this season, it's kind of it's similar to last season in the sense that you have two teams that are right at the top.
Mm,
So obviously last year it was Red Bull, Mercedes. This year it's Red Bull and Ferrari. And then the other teams are a little bit further back, but they're bunched up. Whereas before, it was very evenly spread out among the teams last year below Red Bull and Mercedes. So now it's much more bunched up, which makes it much more interesting. So, you kind of have this sort of, almost two competition or almost two races every weekend where every weekend there is a racing at least where, you have the sort of race between Red Bull and Ferrari, and then you have a much closer race between the other teams than you had last year, which kind of just makes it a lot more interesting.
So what's your best bet for Miami?
Wow, I must say I struggle every week to find one, and this week has actually been harder than any other. I mean, I still I still think Carlos Sainz, even though I feel like he's had just really bad luck, to be honest, I still think though that he's being slightly undervalued by the market. I think he's at 15s on GBets. I think he would be my value bet, but I think it's very very hard to separate Verstappen and Leclerc. As I said, Verstappen showed a bit more pace last weekend. I think the Red Bulls sorted out their car a little bit just in terms of reliability. But I mean, you could make the argument that Ferrari is still a better car overall. It's very, very tight. But yeah, I mean, I think Sainz for a podium, Perez for a podium, or if you want to just stick your neck out and have an outright bet, that's where the value's at. But I mean, it's really a coin flip between Verstappen and Leclerc. So it's tough to have a bet there, quite honestly.
It does seem like quite a tough one. Maybe Saints for podium, just over even money. I'm not sure what they've got over there on GBets, but here on Betway it's
Yeah,
straight over
yeah.
even
You
money.
see that's just. I mean, that's a tricky bet. I mean, sure, he's made one podium this season, and I mean, for an even money bet, look, I know it's a small sample size. It's only 4 races, but for me, I must say, I find it difficult to back these kind of just behind the leader races for a podium because it's sort of the odds aren't great, but also it just takes one of those top guys to have a bad race or to even crash out, and then that podium
Just
is
opens up.
almost a dead certainty. So to me, I prefer just to take the value bets, especially on someone in third or fourth of the betting, just straight up to win, because the podium is kind of like it's a 50-50 in terms of the odds, but
Yeah,
sometimes you get not. It's just not. I just don't see the
yeah.
value there really.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd much rather take someone like Hamilton or Russell for a podium at much bigger odds.
Yeah. Fair
Yeah.
point. Fair point. All right then, Simon. We've got a new bookie that we've been working with. Yes Play. They've got lots of casino games, lots of different casino games, lucky
Mm.
numbers, introducing some sports betting. They've been around for a couple of years. I haven't bet with them that much myself, but they are now kind of ramping up their activities. And they've
Yeah.
got a 100% deposit match bonus up to 3,000 Rand. You've had a look at that one?
I have, yeah. I mean, it's a fairly generous offer as far as they go. So yeah, I think it's a nice way to get punters in the door. Yeah, as you mentioned, I mean, they do have a nice range of casino games. They've got evolution games, they've got pragmatic play, they've got drop and win pragmatic play games, which
Yes.
which I don't believe are actually anywhere else in South Africa.
It's
And
and those are kind of like rebranded evolution games like Crazy Time and that kind of thing. They've mixed up what's been
yes,
popular on
with
Evolution, and they've branded and created their own studios and things like that. So
yeah, so some of them are kind of replicas, some of them are newer games. But yeah, from a sports betting perspective, very mediocre. I must be honest. I mean, not many sports on offer, and also not many markets.
no,
So if you are more of a sports bet than a casino player, sure, go get that bonus. But I wouldn't. You're not going to be that excited about
your
what's on offer.
longevity there might not be that long.
Yeah, but for casino players, definitely worth looking into, and they do have a wide range of deposit methods, which is
Yes.
always good. You can deposit with almost any voucher, cards, EFT, etc. So there's lots of banking options there, which is also a good thing.
Right. I think that wraps up the podcast today. Guys, don't forget to let me know in the comments below who the Brentford main sponsor is. They're a purple company. Leave that company's name in the comments below. Please only enter once, unless. Well, actually, I'm not even going to allow duplicate entries. It's just going to confuse things. So yeah, enter once. I'll do a lucky draw, and then I will announce the winner on Friday. I'll reply to your comment, and we'll get that shirt sent off to you. But yeah, thanks for joining, Simon. What's your best bet of the week? Any heavy fancy?
Oof, sure. I must say I'm really struggling this week. We had a really good run in the Champions League last week. I have a feeling I'm not going to have the run like I did last week. The F1 is really tricky. Wow, I must say I'm struggling, but I think it would probably be um, both. Uh, what was it? Who to win and both teams to score now?
Liverpool to win, and both.
Yes, Liverpool to beat Spurs and both teams to score. I think that would be my best bet of the week. But again, not a strong selection. I'm feeling it's a little bit tricky this week, I think.
Yeah, my best bet's going to be that quad that I mentioned earlier, which is going to include all those big teams. It's got Chelsea in there, it's got Liverpool, Arsenal, and City to all win their respective matches, and that's going to be my best bet of the week. It's paying out 3.46, so lock that one in. Chelsea, I think, is going to be the sweat there. But yeah, hopefully it's going to be another profitable week for us. And guys, thanks for tuning into the episode, and we'll catch you in the next one. Have a good one. Cheers.